Listen carefully. No one's coming to save you. No one's losing sleep over your struggle. No one cares how tired you are, how unfair it feels, or how much potential you think you have. The world isn't moved by stories. It's moved by results. You can scream your pain to the sky. It will echo back silence. You can post your frustration online. It will drown in the noise. Because this world doesn't reward emotion, it rewards execution. You think people should understand you. They won't. You think someone should believe in you. They don't have to. You think you deserve more because you've suffered. You don't. Suffering earns you nothing unless it changes you. The truth is harsh because it's clean. You're not special because you want something. You're not powerful because you talk about it. You're not progressing because you're busy. You only earn respect when you produce. Every man faces the same choice: collapse and complain, or endure and conquer. Most choose the first because it's easy to be a victim. Blame your parents, blame society, blame the system. But the truth is, the system doesn't care about your blame. It only cares about your value. You want recognition? Build something worth noticing. You want power? Earn it when no one's watching. You want peace? Win the war inside your own mind. Until then, no one owes you a thing. The world doesn't owe you comfort. It doesn't owe you clarity. It doesn't owe you fairness. It owes you nothing, and that's the gift. Because when you finally accept that no one cares, you stop waiting. You stop hoping. You start moving. That's when your life begins to sharpen. The moment you stop expecting rescue, you become dangerous. Because a man who expects nothing can't be broken. He works without applause. He grows without validation. He becomes his own engine, his own proof. Understand this. You're not behind. You're undisciplined. You're not unlucky. You're uncommitted. You're not unseen. You're unproven. The gap between where you are and where you want to be, that's your fault. And that's good, because if it's your fault, it's your fix. Stop crying for help. Build strength instead. Stop searching for approval. Earn results instead. Stop talking about your goals. Execute them in silence. Because in silence, no one distracts you. In silence, you start hearing the truth. Every man gets what he works for, not what he wishes for. The weak chase sympathy. The strong chase progress. The weak talk about effort. The strong measure output. The weak wait for motivation. The strong move regardless. That's the difference between the forgotten and the feared. Nobody cares about your grind until it produces something undeniable. Nobody respects your potential until it turns into proof. So stop announcing what you'll do. Start becoming what you said you'd be. You owe the world nothing, but you owe yourself everything. And that debt can only be paid in discipline. When you wake up early and work while they sleep, you pay. When you suffer quietly and push through fatigue, you pay. When you execute without emotion, you pay. That's how you earn freedom. Not through comfort, but through control. Not through pity, but through power. And the man who understands that truth becomes unstoppable. So hear me clearly. Nobody owes you support. Nobody owes you time. Nobody owes you love, loyalty, or second chances. Everything you want, you must take through discipline. The world doesn't care about your feelings. It respects your force. And the man who accepts that stops crying and starts conquering. Because once you kill the illusion of being owed, you awaken the reality of being capable. And that's when you become dangerous. That's when you become built different. Look around you. You're living in the softest generation of men to ever exist. A world built on comfort, not courage. Emotion, not effort. Validation, not victory. Everywhere you turn, weakness is glorified. Excuses are celebrated. Accountability is mocked. And men are taught that the cure for struggle is sympathy. They've turned mediocrity into identity. They've turned excuses into movements. They've turned comfort into purpose. And they've convinced you that feeling understood is the same thing as being strong. It's not. Strength doesn't seek comfort. It seeks confrontation. It seeks the truth, not a therapist. It seeks evolution, not empathy. But you've been trained to think that your emotions define you. They don't. Your actions do. You live in an age where men confuse expression with execution. They talk about their pain instead of transforming it. They share quotes about discipline instead of living it. They build routines they never follow. They call themselves grinders but sleep through the morning. You've been lied to. They told you self-care meant avoiding pressure. They told you boundaries meant never pushing your limits. They told you rest was healing, but forgot to mention rest means nothing if you haven't earned exhaustion. Comfort culture is a virus. It infects your drive. It rewires your brain to crave softness, not strength, to seek sympathy instead of solutions, to call weakness self-awareness.
But awareness without action is delusion. And you, right now, are either being built by discipline or destroyed by comfort. Every scroll feeds the illusion of progress. You see success, and your mind mistakes consumption for contribution. You watch others grind, and it tricks you into feeling productive. That's the trap. Fake progress disguised as connection. Men have become spectators in their own lives, watching motivation videos instead of living one, talking about purpose instead of building one. They've traded conviction for comfort, and they're proud of it. You're told to be kind to yourself. No. Be honest with yourself, because the truth will build you faster than comfort ever could. You don't need more love from the world. You need more fire within yourself. You don't need encouragement. You need confrontation. You don't need another motivational quote. You need silence, discipline, and execution. This era rewards the weak because the weak are easy to control. They want you tired, distracted, emotionally fragile, because a man who can't control himself can be controlled by anyone. Look at the average man today. He seeks validation in comments. He hides from difficulty. He quits when results take time. And then he blames the system, the market, the government, his past, anything but his own reflection. But that reflection is your enemy and your key. The mirror doesn't lie, you do. Every time you say you're trying, the mirror knows you're not. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, the mirror knows you won't. Every time you post about progress instead of living it, the mirror knows you're pretending. You've been fed the lie that being understood will heal you. It won't. Being effective will. Because effectiveness silences everything: doubt, pain, fear, criticism. Results don't need validation, they command it. Understand this: you are not supposed to be understood. You are supposed to be effective. You are supposed to be disciplined. You are supposed to be dangerous in your purpose. The world doesn't care about your story. It cares about your strength. And strength is born when comfort dies. You were not built to fit in. You were built to endure. You were built to lead when others crumble. You were built to operate when emotion breaks men apart. But you can't do that while you're addicted to comfort. Comfort is the quiet assassin. It kills your hunger. It numbs your potential. It convinces you that balance is the same as peace. It's not. Balance is what average men chase to justify their lack of obsession. You think you need rest? You need purpose. You think you need balance? You need order. You think you need understanding? You need results. Because results shut everyone up. They end pity. They end sympathy. They end doubt. And that's why comfort culture hates accountability. It exposes who's actually working. They'll call you cold for choosing discipline. They'll call you arrogant for refusing excuses. They'll call you emotionless because you don't share your pain online. Good. Be misunderstood. Be isolated. Be unstoppable. Because when you strip away comfort, only one thing remains: capability. And the man who is capable doesn't need approval.
Every era builds a type of man. This one builds weak ones by design. It's your job to break the design, to rebuild yourself in silence, to replace validation with victory, to stop waiting for empathy and start demanding excellence. You owe no one your softness. You owe no one your comfort. You owe no one your pain story. You owe yourself greatness, earned, not explained. So stop chasing comfort. Stop performing discipline. Stop blending into a generation that mistakes emotion for power. You don't need comfort. You need conquest. You don't need validation. You need vengeance against the version of yourself that's settled. You don't need to be understood. You need to be undeniable. And the only way to become that man is to bury the excuses, to kill the softness, to rise above comfort. Because comfort kills kings, but accountability builds them. And the man who lives by accountability can never be broken by opinion. This world doesn't need another emotional man begging to be seen. It needs a cold one, too focused to beg, too disciplined to fail, too driven to stop. You are that man, but only when you choose it. And that choice begins when you stop explaining, stop excusing, and start executing. Nobody cares what stopped you yesterday. They care if you rise today. So rise. And remember, discipline is not punishment. It's the resurrection of your potential. Look in the mirror. Really look. Not for the version of you post online. Not for the man you pretend to be when people are watching. Look for the truth, the one you avoid when it's quiet. That reflection staring back at you, that's the man responsible for everything. Every missed opportunity, every broken promise, every habit that's killing your potential. You want someone to blame? He's right there. You've spent too long outsourcing responsibility, blaming your upbringing, your environment, your job, your past. But none of those things lifted your hand when you hit snooze. None of them scrolled when you should have been working.
None of them quit when things got hard. You did. You are your own resistance. The enemy isn't out there, it's inside. It's the part of you that negotiates when you should execute. The voice that says, just 5 more minutes. The whisper that tells you, you've done enough. The soft part of you that calls comfort balance and laziness recovery. You've built a routine of avoidance and dressed it up as self-care. You call it burnout. You call it mental health. You call it boundaries. But the truth is, it's fear. Fear of being exposed. Fear of pressure. Fear of failing again. Because deep down, you know failure hurts most when you can't lie about it anymore. You've lied to yourself for so long that mediocrity started to feel normal. You've lowered the bar so much, you started tripping over it.
And then you called that peace. But peace isn't the absence of struggle, it's the mastery of it. You want results? Stop lying. Stop performing progress. Stop giving yourself permission to quit every time you're uncomfortable. The mirror never lies. It doesn't care about your words. It doesn't care about your intentions. It only reflects the truth. What you built, what you've done, and what you've become. And right now, that reflection shows your discipline or your excuses. Nothing else. When was the last time you held eye contact with yourself after breaking a promise? You said you'd wake up early. You didn't. You said you'd stop wasting time. You didn't. You said this would be the year you change. It wasn't. And you wonder why you feel empty. It's because you've lost respect for yourself. You can't trust your own word anymore. And a man who can't trust himself can't build anything lasting. You've built a reputation in your own head, not with your results, but with your excuses. You talk about discipline, but your habits scream comfort. You talk about purpose, but your actions show confusion. You talk about wanting more, but you live like you've already earned it. You've mistaken effort for execution. You've mistaken planning for progress. You've mistaken talking for doing. You love the idea of becoming great, but you hate the process of earning it. You say you're working on yourself, but you've spent more time analyzing your emotions than sharpening your skills. You want control over your life, but you've surrendered control to distraction. The mirror doesn't need your excuses. It needs evidence, and right now, there isn't enough. Every failure in your life has your fingerprints on it. Your hesitation, your inconsistency, your lack of focus. Every goal you didn't reach wasn't stolen, you abandoned it. Every dream you didn't realize wasn't denied, you stopped pursuing it. You've been your own ceiling this entire time. The problem isn't the world. The problem is your tolerance for weakness. You built a home inside your own comfort zone and called it stability. But comfort zones don't protect you, they trap you. They make you forget what hunger feels like. They make you forget what drive feels like. They make you forget that you're supposed to fight for everything you want. And that's why the mirror test matters, because it's the only place you can't hide. No filters, no validation, no audience. Just you and the truth. So here's the real question. When you strip away the noise, who are you? A talker or a doer? A pretender or a producer? A man of words or a man of work? You can't have both. You can't speak like a warrior and live like a victim. You can't want to be exceptional and act ordinary. You can't demand respect and keep breaking your own word. You want to change? Then break yourself. Break your excuses. Break your habits. Break the cycle of starting and stopping. Burn it all. the weakness, the comfort, the soft identity you built to protect your ego. The truth is simple. The man you want to be already exists. He's buried under the man you've settled for. The mission is to dig him out, one disciplined day at a time, one decision at a time, one rep, one sacrifice, one truth at a time. You want freedom? It's not in comfort. You want peace? It's not in avoidance. You want respect? It's not in sympathy. It's in that mirror. It's in owning the man staring back at you. Because when you do, when you stop running, stop explaining, stop lying, you take your power back. The mirror is your battlefield. Every day you face it, you choose to be the problem or the solution, to stay soft or become sharp, to keep talking or start executing. And the day you stop flinching from that reflection is the day you start becoming dangerous. Because a man who owns his reflection owns his reality, and a man who owns his reality cannot be controlled by anyone or anything again. You wake up. You don't feel like moving. Your body's heavy, your mind is foggy, and your emotions start whispering the same script they always do. Take it easy. That's the moment that defines your entire life. Because right there, between that whisper and your response, is the difference between the man you are and the man you could have been. You think discipline is about motivation. It's not. You think effort needs emotion to move. It doesn't. Effort is mechanical. Effort is blind. Effort doesn't care if you feel ready. It executes. You've built a habit of obeying how you feel. You're tired, you rest. You're bored, you stop. You're stressed, you run. And every time you do, you reinforce the belief that emotion deserves authority. It doesn't. Emotion is noise. Effort is signal. Emotion screams for attention. Effort moves in silence.
You want control? Then stop letting your feelings negotiate your output. You don't rise to the level of your feelings. You rise to the level of your discipline. And right now, your discipline is weak because you keep waiting to feel strong. Understand this. The body will follow the mind, but only if the mind is trained to lead. Most men let the body lead. That's why they quit when it hurts. That's why they coast when it's easy. That's why they never build consistency, because they've confused momentum with emotion. You're not here to chase feelings. You're here to build foundations. Discipline is a code, a system, a law you write for yourself and refuse to break. It's the ability to act correctly even when everything inside you begs to do otherwise. You obey the code because it's the only thing that keeps you from falling apart. You obey the code because emotion has no loyalty. It changes with weather, mood, and circumstance. One day it tells you you're unstoppable. The next day it convinces you you're worthless. And if you keep letting that roller coaster drive your decisions, you'll never stay on track long enough to see results. Effort is what builds. Emotion is what burns. That's why real men move mechanically when it's time to work. There's no debate, no delay, no dialogue, just action. If it's on the plan, it gets done. If it's not, it doesn't exist. You think you need more inspiration? You don't. You need order. You need a system so rigid that your feelings can't interfere. You wake up and you follow the plan, not the mood. You train because it's on the schedule, not because it's convenient. You execute because it's what's required, not because it's exciting. Discipline isn't about passion. It's about precision. Every hour, every rep, every meal, every habit, all structured to destroy chaos before chaos destroys you. You want peace? Build structure. You want freedom? Build rules. The man without a code is a slave to his emotions, and a slave to emotion will always fall back into weakness. Think about the strongest men in history: warriors, samurai, soldiers, kings. They weren't guided by inspiration, they were guided by law. Their discipline wasn't emotional, it was mechanical. You don't see a soldier on the battlefield waiting for motivation to strike before he moves. He moves because the mission demands it. That's how you must live. Mission first, emotion last. Your mission is the plan. The plan is the code. And the code doesn't care if you feel like following it. It only demands obedience. You're not supposed to feel good every day. You're supposed to perform every day. Feelings are seasonal. Discipline is eternal. You don't build greatness by waiting for the right mood. You build it by doing the right thing when the wrong mood tries to stop you. Discipline is a form of loyalty, not to comfort, but to command. It's the voice that says, "I said I'd do it, so I'll do it." That's integrity, that's self-respect, and that's where confidence is born. Not from emotion, but from evidence. Confidence doesn't come from hype, it comes from repetition. When you've executed long enough, even when you didn't feel like it, you start to trust yourself again. You stop asking, "Can I?" You start saying, "I will." You stop needing motivation because movement becomes natural. Action becomes instinct. Your brain stops negotiating because it knows the outcome. Work gets done. No emotion required. That's the transition from emotional to mechanical, from impulsive to disciplined, from talker to executor. And once you cross that line, everything changes. Your mornings stop depending on mood. Your productivity stops depending on pressure. Your consistency stops depending on comfort. You become unshakable because your actions are no longer tied to how you feel. They're tied to who you are.
You follow the code because it's the law of high performance. You follow it because emotion will betray you every time. You follow it because nothing else guarantees results. Here's the truth most men can't handle. The gap between you and greatness isn't emotion, it's effort. And effort isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You don't need to love the process, you need to respect it. You don't need to feel like working, you just need to start. Because once you start, momentum takes over, and momentum doesn't ask for permission. Your feelings are irrelevant. Your effort is everything. And once you stop giving emotion a seat at the table, you'll finally get to taste what freedom actually feels like. Not the fake kind that comes from comfort, but the real kind that comes from control. That's the discipline code. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, it's not emotional. It's cold, calculated, and effective. You wake up, you execute, you repeat. Every day, every season, until repetition becomes identity. And when that happens, when effort replaces emotion as your driver, you become untouchable. Because nothing can stop a man who doesn't care how he feels. He just moves, he just works, he just wins. This is where most men quit. Not in the chaos, not in the pain, not even in defeat. They quit in the silence when nobody's watching. The gym's empty, the phone's quiet, the results aren't visible yet. And that's when the weak start to disappear, because they were never built for solitude. They were built for attention. You say you're working hard, but who are you doing it for? The applause? The recognition? The validation? If you need eyes on you to stay disciplined, you've already lost. The real grind has no audience, no claps, no cameras, just repetition, just silence, just you, the plan, and the war inside your head. This is the part no one teaches you. Greatness is born in boredom, not in motivation, not in excitement, not in highlight reels. It's built in monotony. The same reps, the same hours, the same focus, day after day, until the man next to you starts wondering how you became so consistent. You didn't become consistent, you just refused to stop. That's the secret. You outlast, not outshine, not outperform, outlast. The world celebrates results, but ignores the repetition that created them. They see the victory and call it talent. They see the body and call it genetics. They see the success and call it luck. They don't see the thousands of hours when you could have quit but didn't. They don't see the mornings when you woke up with nothing left but still showed up. They don't see the nights when you were invisible, exhausted, and forgotten but still executed. That's the work. It's ugly, it's repetitive, it's lonely. And that's exactly why it separates men from boys. You see, when no one's watching, there's no pressure. When there's no pressure, there's no applause. When there's no applause, there's no ego boost. And when there's no ego boost, you find out who you really are. Are you disciplined, or are you just performing discipline when people notice? Are you consistent, or are you just consistent when someone's measuring it? This is the test of the grind. Can you show up when no one claps? Can you repeat the same thing for weeks, months, years without visible reward? Can you do what needs to be done when your results are invisible, your progress feels slow, and your motivation is dead? That's the grind no one glamorizes, the invisible season. The quiet hours when the world doesn't care about your effort. The long days when the progress isn't visible yet. The late nights when it's just you and your discipline. And that's where men are made, because that's where you either break or you build. You either crumble because no one sees you, or you learn to move without needing witnesses. You either chase attention or you chase mastery. And mastery is a lonely road. It doesn't come with applause. It doesn't come with comfort. It doesn't come with validation. It comes with pain, patience, and a kind of obsession that can't be taught, only lived. You can't fake the grind. You can't pretend consistency. You either show up or you don't. There's no hiding behind emotion when it's 4 a.m. and no one knows you're still awake. There's no pretending when you're the only one holding yourself accountable. There's no lying when your progress depends entirely on what you do when no one's watching. This is where you meet yourself, the real you, stripped of ego, stripped of excuses, stripped of the noise. And when you meet that version, one of two things happens. You run or you rise.
If you run, you'll spend the rest of your life seeking shortcuts. You'll chase every new trick, every new wave of motivation, every quick fix. You'll stay average, loud, but hollow. If you rise, you'll learn to love the silence. You'll stop needing validation. You'll stop posting your progress for proof. You'll start working for something deeper. Respect. Self-respect. Because that's the truth. Discipline isn't about what people see. It's about what you see when no one's looking. It's about looking yourself in the mirror and knowing you didn't cheat the day. It's about earning your sleep, not escaping into it. You'll never become extraordinary by doing what's visible. You become extraordinary by doing what's invisible consistently. You want to be feared? Grind when no one's watching. You want to be respected? Grind when no one's clapping. You want to be unbreakable? Grind when no one's validating. That's when the transformation happens. Not when you post, not when you talk, not when you announce your plans, but when you're alone, executing. And here's the truth most can't handle. If you can't suffer in silence, you don't deserve to speak in success. If you can't master the invisible work, you'll never sustain visible results. If you can't stay disciplined without attention, you'll fall apart the moment you get it. You must learn to operate in darkness. You must become a ghost to the world and a machine to the mission. You must work like no one exists, because that's when you build what no one else can. When you move in silence long enough, the world will eventually see what you've built, and they'll call it sudden. But there's nothing sudden about mastery. It's years of invisible effort condensed into a single visible moment. That's the real grind. No cameras, no followers, no audience. Just you, your work, and your word. And when you finally resurface, stronger, sharper, colder, they'll ask how you did it. They'll call you lucky. They'll call you gifted. But you'll know the truth. You didn't need luck. You didn't need talent. You didn't need attention. You needed the grind, the empty room, the long nights, the repetition, the silence. That's where you built your edge. That's where you killed your weakness. That's where you earned your respect. Because the man who can master the grind with no witnesses becomes unstoppable when the world finally pays attention. He's already fought the hardest battle, the one against boredom, comfort, and invisibility, and he won. So stop waiting for recognition. Stop waiting for proof. Stop waiting for applause. Do the work, every day, in silence, without emotion, without witnesses, because when it's all over, the world won't remember what you said. They'll remember what you built. And you'll know one truth deep in your bones. You became that man, because when no one was watching, you still showed up. Listen, you don't get stronger in comfort. You get stronger in chaos. You get sharper when everything's against you. You become lethal when there's nothing left to lose. Pain is not punishment, it's process. Every scar is data. Every loss is calibration. Every betrayal is intelligence. You're not supposed to escape it. You're supposed to extract from it. The storm doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to strip you. It removes the weakness. It removes the noise. It removes the fake layers you've been hiding behind. When it's over, only the real remains. Only the focused survive. Only the disciplined evolve. You want growth? Then stop running from the pain. Run into it. Drag it into your plan. Bleed with intention. Because pain, when directed, becomes fuel. You think rejection is the end? It's the beginning. You think failure means you're done? It means you're still in the fight. You think being doubted means you're losing? It means you're being noticed. Every no is energy. Every loss is leverage. Every hit is a reminder that you're still alive, still in motion, still dangerous. The world doesn't hand out strength. It forces you to earn it. That's why pain exists, to build endurance where emotion used to live. Every setback that didn't kill you hardens something inside you.
Every disappointment that didn't stop you carved discipline into your bones. And every person that left you, every doubt that broke you, became part of your arsenal. That's what the weak don't understand. They see pain as a reason to pause. The strong see it as a reason to accelerate. They weaponize the struggle. They grind harder when they're hurt. They build momentum out of misery. The pain is the gym. The suffering is the training ground. The failure is the feedback loop. You think you're losing, but you're being refined. Every rejection teaches precision. Every heartbreak teaches detachment. Every humiliation teaches humility. Every fall teaches balance.
The storm is your mentor, brutal but honest. It doesn't coddle you, it confronts you. It doesn't give you comfort, it gives you clarity. It doesn't make you feel strong, it makes you be strong. You can't claim greatness and fear adversity. You can't pray for growth and reject the pain that builds it. You can't talk about resilience if every discomfort breaks you. Discipline is forged in pain, not philosophy. Look back at your life. Every moment that built you came from a storm. You were never built in the calm. You were built when you were doubted. You were built when you were alone. You were built when you had to move through pain without applause. That's where power is born. In the nights you wanted to quit but didn't. In the mornings you felt empty but still executed. In the moments you were invisible but kept improving. Pain is not the enemy. Comfort is. Comfort weakens you quietly. Pain strengthens you violently. And that violence is necessary because the world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards impact. And impact only comes from endurance. The pain you carry isn't a curse, it's capacity. It's proof that you've been tested. It's proof that you've stayed in the fight longer than most. Every scar you've earned is a receipt that says, I didn't quit. So stop resenting your pain. Study it, respect it, use it. Let rejection sharpen you. Let betrayal focus you. Let failure humble you. Let anger fuel you, but never control you. When they doubt you, don't explain. When they mock you, don't react. When they leave you, don't chase. Convert everything into fuel. Pain into effort. Disrespect into consistency. Loneliness into laser focus. This is how warriors are made. Not in peace, but in pressure. Not in support, but in solitude. Not in comfort, but in conflict. The storm is a filter. It separates the loud from the lethal. The weak will drown in it. The strong will learn to breathe underwater. Let the world throw what it wants at you. Betrayal, failure, doubt, delay. Absorb it, transform it, return it as progress. You've been conditioned to see pain as a wall, but pain is the door. You just haven't learned to push through it. Walk into the storm willingly. Let it beat you, bruise you, expose you. Then rise from it cleaner, colder, and more dangerous than before. They'll never understand it. They'll call you emotionless. They'll call you obsessed. They'll call you ruthless. They'll be right. Because to survive the storm, you can't remain soft. You have to become disciplined under destruction, focused under fire, calm under chaos.
That's how killers are made. Men who don't flinch in pain. Men who don't need comfort. Men who keep moving through storms that break others. Every time life hits you, hit back with discipline. Every time it rejects you, respond with execution. Every time it tries to slow you down, move twice as fast. You don't wait for the storm to pass, you learn to fight in it. Because men who wait for peace never rise. Men who use pain never fall. So the next time you're rejected, smile. The next time you fail, tighten your focus. The next time life hurts, go harder. You don't need support. You don't need validation. You need scars and the hunger to make them mean something. Because scars are evidence of survival, and survival is the first step to domination. You are the storm now. Unpredictable, unstoppable, unforgiving. You've learned to make power out of pain, and once a man learns that, nothing can hurt him again. This is where the noise ends. This is where the talking stops. This is where results replace words. You've endured the storm. You've bled. You've been doubted, ignored, and broken down. Now you rise, not with noise, not with emotion, but with evidence. The kind that can't be denied. The kind that doesn't need validation. The kind that speaks in silence. You don't announce greatness. You build it brick by brick while they're sleeping. You don't talk about progress. You become progress. You don't argue with doubters. You drown them with consistency. That's the ascent. Not an explosion, a slow, relentless climb. Every rep, every hour, every sacrifice stacking quietly, invisibly, until one day you're not chasing anymore. You're being chased. The men who once pitied you will study you. The ones who mocked your discipline will imitate it.
The world that overlooked you will adjust to your presence. Because that's what real power does. It doesn't ask to be seen. It forces acknowledgement. The climb is lonely, but it's pure. No applause, no shortcuts, no validation. Just execution. You wake, you work, you repeat, until the process itself becomes your identity. You stop chasing dopamine and start chasing precision. You stop caring about the crowd and start caring about control. Because when your work starts speaking, you don't need to. Every action you've taken becomes your resume. Every hour you sacrificed becomes your introduction. Every moment of silence becomes your statement. You think silence is weakness? Silence is strategy. The loud ones expose their hunger for attention. The quiet ones build leverage. By the time they see you, it's too late. You're already miles ahead. Discipline doesn't crave spotlight. It craves proof. Proof that you outlasted them. Proof that you became the man who stayed when others left. Proof that you didn't fold when it got dark. That's what separates men who talk about success from men who embody it. One needs motivation, the other operates on mission. The ascent isn't glamorous, it's brutal repetition, deliberate monotony, controlled suffering. While others chase novelty, you perfect routine. While they want excitement, you want results. And that's why you'll outlast them, because boredom is your ally. You don't need thrill, you need progress. Let them waste energy explaining their dreams. Let them post about effort instead of living it.
Let them seek validation for half-done work. You build. You obey the process. You shut your mouth and sharpen your edge. Because the man who works in silence owns the outcome. The world doesn't reward emotion, it rewards results. And results only belong to those who can do the same thing perfectly 1,000 times in a row. That's not motivation. That's discipline evolved into identity. There's a point in the climb where people stop doubting you, not because they believe in you, but because they can't deny you. That's dominance, not arrogance. Dominance. When presence becomes power, when consistency becomes your reputation, when you don't have to raise your voice because your name already carries weight. Understand this. The climb is not about recognition. Recognition is a side effect. The mission is control, mastery over self, time, and focus. You're not rising to impress. You're rising to become undeniable. And that requires isolation, precision, and repetition to the point of madness. The ascent feels cold because it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to feel good while building. You're supposed to feel empty, detached, exhausted. Because that emptiness, that's the cost of progress. You're draining weakness out of your system. You're replacing emotion with endurance. Every morning you rise earlier, not because it's easy, but because comfort is death. Every night you go again, not because you're motivated, but because it's mandatory. The plan runs your life. The mission controls your movement. And in that obedience, you find power. People won't understand your silence. They'll confuse it for weakness. They'll mistake your discipline for obsession. But the truth is, obsession is the price of mastery. You're not obsessed with success. You're obsessed with execution. Because execution doesn't lie. It's pure, it's measurable, it's final.
Let your work become your argument. Let your results become your defense. Let your evolution become your revenge. You don't respond to criticism. You respond with consistency. You don't debate doubters. You destroy them with data. You don't seek support. You build momentum. That's how the ascent works. It's not about rising once. It's about staying risen. It's about maintaining the standard you bled to reach. It's about becoming the type of man who never drops back down. When your work speaks for you, you don't need to convince anyone. You walk into rooms and energy shifts. Not because you talk, because you've earned the silence. Because your presence carries proof. This is where the disciplined separate from the dreamers. Dreamers wait for recognition. Disciplinarians command it through consistency. Understand this, results are louder than motivation. Consistency is louder than noise, and silence, when backed by work, is the loudest sound in the world. You don't chase validation anymore. You create inevitability. Every rep, every hour, every sacrifice, stacked, recorded, weaponized, until you become what they said you'd never be. Until your existence itself becomes evidence of what discipline can do. Until the world realizes you don't talk to be heard, you work to be remembered. This is the ascent. You've earned your silence. Now let your work speak. Louder than every word, louder than every doubt, louder than every voice that said you couldn't. Because when your work speaks,
the world listens. And when the world listens, you don't talk. You build, you execute, you rise. Built different. Be the man your father couldn't be. This is where it all comes together. The noise, the pain, the doubt, the climb. It all leads here to the truth you can't escape. Nobody cares. Not about your effort, not about your struggle, not about how hard it's been or how close you came. They care about one thing. Did you win? And if you didn't, they move on. The world doesn't stop for the man who almost made it. There's no sympathy for the man who quit too soon. There's only silence. And that silence is your mirror. It reflects what you did, not what you felt. You want respect? Earn it. You want validation? Outwork everyone until it's undeniable. You want peace? Fight for it through chaos. You want purpose? Build it brick by brick, rep by rep, day by day, in blood and boredom. This is the battlefield, and the only rule is simple: work harder. Work harder when it's dark. Work harder when no one sees you. Work harder when it doesn't make sense. Because the man who keeps moving when everyone else stops becomes unstoppable. Discipline is not a mood, it's a mandate. You don't wait to feel ready. You move because it's required. You don't wait for applause. You move because it's your duty. You don't wait for motivation. You move because time doesn't care. You wake up and you execute. Cold, focused, ruthless. You keep your emotions in a cage. You keep your comfort on a leash. You serve the mission like a soldier serves the flag, with total obedience and zero hesitation.
Every day you have two options: negotiate with your weakness or destroy it. Most men negotiate. That's why most men lose. They talk themselves into delay, disguise fear as logic, and call it balance. But balance is a myth when you're building an empire. You don't need balance, you need control. Control over thought, control over emotion, control over reaction, because control is power. You think you need motivation? You don't. You need order. You need repetition. You need a standard so high it breaks average men. Stay cold. Stay unreadable. Stay dangerous. Because the man who can't be read can't be predicted, and the man who can't be predicted can't be stopped. Every hour you hesitate, someone hungrier is grinding. Every time you rest too long, someone ruthless is replacing you. The game doesn't wait, and when you're tired, the world keeps moving. So move with it, faster, harder, smarter. You've got to stop thinking like a victim. Nobody's coming, nobody's checking in, nobody's saving you. This is war, and wars are won by men who refuse to quit. You want to be respected? Then suffer in silence. You want to be feared? Then execute without warning. You want to be free? Then obey the plan until freedom becomes the side effect. Lock in. Not for a day, not for a week, for life. Lock in until the habits take over. Lock in until you don't need to think anymore. Lock in until movement becomes automatic, like breathing, because that's the moment you become dangerous, when you no longer need to feel to act. Men lose when they start talking. Men win when they start moving. So stop explaining, stop justifying, stop waiting for understanding. Nobody's supposed to understand you. They're supposed to watch you win. You are not here to be liked. You are here to dominate. You are not here to seek comfort. You are here to create pressure. You are not here to feel safe. You are here to become unbreakable.
Every rep, every sacrifice, every moment of silence, it's building your legend. And legends are not born, they're built in repetition, not in the spotlight, in the shadows, not in applause, in isolation, not in emotion, in execution. The world doesn't care how hard you tried. It only remembers who finished. So finish every time, no matter what. There's no excuse left, no one to blame, no more delays. Your mission is simple. Work harder, stay cold, stay locked in. The pain is the filter. The weak will break. The disciplined will rise. And you will endure. Because this is what it means to be built different. To outlast comfort, to outwork emotion, to outlive doubt. You don't flinch, you don't fold, you don't pause. You move, always, without emotion, without hesitation. This is your creed now, your identity. Every breath a reminder that softness kills. Every step a declaration that you're still in the fight. Every scar a receipt for what you've earned. So keep building, keep moving, keep executing until your work speaks in volumes silence can't contain. Because at the end of it all, when the noise fades and the crowd forgets, one truth remains. You either worked or you didn't. You either built or you broke. You either rose or you folded. And the only way forward is simple. Work harder, stay cold, stay locked in. Built different. Be the man your father couldn't be.